Welcome back to YouTube. Funmaster Mike is going to take a trip down memory lane. I'm going to use my Mini Cooper to go fast down memory lane. But before we get into the action, please hit that subscribe button. Don't drive through any stop signs either. That would not be cool. Okay, this game was played when I was a little guy, and I just decided to put it in the machine, and the machine says I played well, which I'm pretty happy about. We didn't have machines back then, but it's always nice to know 30 years later that you did some good in the world. Okay, I was black, game's about equal, but my opponent kind of messed up the coordination of all of his pieces. You can see all of these pieces are sort of centralized, right? They're all kind of working together. I know he's not happy about his queen being on the same line as my rook, but he tried queen g5, which actually looks like a pretty promising move. My knight's double attacked. There's no real great way to guard it. I don't want to play my queen over and pin myself. If I move my knight, then suddenly I take away a defender of this pawn. This pawn will be in big trouble with the queen, the pawn, the knight, possibly the rook aiming at it. But actually, queen g5 messes up some coordination and allows a tactic. I played the only good move here, which is, drum roll, h6. Were you hoping for something bigger? Well, we're going to get to the bigger and the badder and the better in just a minute. Okay, so the queen runs away. She went to the square h4, and then I have to get her away from my knight. Okay, the purpose of my next two moves, h6 and g5, is just to get the queen away from my knight so I can take some active operations. Now, no matter where the queen moves, I'm pretty much going to play the same next move, okay? So I do think my opponent chose kind of a poor move, but there's not a lot of better ones. My opponent chose queen h3. And I took, isolating my opponent's pawn, or am I? Well, we're going to find out in just a minute, but white has to be really careful, because if white, for example, takes with the knight to avoid an isolated pawn, then there are some problems, right? This bishop is pinned because the rook's not defended. You could very easily see some tactics happening on the bishop. Even just knight takes knight looks pretty good because the bishop is now double attacked, and if it moves, the rook on d1 is lost. You could try to guard it, of course, but then I play a move like c5, and you see the point of what I'm saying. Okay, let's go back. After pawn takes pawn. Instead, my opponent took back with the pawn. Now, let's just say for a moment that my opponent saw what was coming and say, played bishop takes knight. This is still very hard for white, because after I take back, there's this problem of the knight being in danger, and if the knight gets captured or moves, then the rook is in danger. So for example, if my opponent takes back, I would grab the knight. This rook is hanging, so white would have to take, but that gives me control of the open file. And now in this position, if you take back, for example, with the pawn, then I get access to the b1 square, and I can invade like this, and white's king is in big trouble. I guess in this position, you actually could take with the queen, but at the very least, I play queen a7 check and get a lot of activity that way. So after here, I throw in a check, and when the king moves, don't play rook here, because rook here is basically mate, right? Okay, so if the king moves, then I can still play rook to d1 check, and I think I'm definitely better in this position with the more active pieces. My queen's going to start eating some stuff. Okay, let's go all the way back to this position where I took on e4. My opponent took back with the pawn, and now we get to play some super fun tactics. Rook takes bishop, because after rook takes, not only do I line up the rook with my bishop, I also line up white's rook with his own king. It's going to be like scissors, and I'm going to cut that rook to shreds. So I played queen to b6, hitting the rook. Now white tried to guard it with rook to d2, but now knight takes e4. No rest for the weary. Winning a pawn and also making it so white can't exactly play knight back to guard the rook because the other rook is hanging. So white had to take. I take back with check, king f1. Now if you count the material, I'm only up a pawn and I've got double isolated pawns. So it's not that clear that it's such an easy win. But I played rook to e8 to activate my last piece and attack the knight. Okay, the knight went to d6, and now this is the move I'm really liking. The computer says I played the perfect move here, the only easily winning move. Instead of guarding my rook on e8, I attacked with c3, answering an attack with an attack. That goes against my normal advice, but you know what? I wasn't a horrible player when I played that move, okay? Pawn to c3, and the purpose of this move is that if you ever take with the pawn, that pawn was pinned. Queen b1 is just mate in one. because after rook back, I take, and it's mate. So this is the second time in the game, really, c3, where I'm putting PP on the PP. This B pawn is pinned because it's pinned to a square. That is definition of a pin too. Okay, so queen b1 is a big problem. Now, not really sure what to suggest for my opponent, but my opponent tried to play Desperado. He says, well, I'm going to lose my rook, and I'm going to get your rook back. I'm going to get something from my rook. I'm going to take. But that fails because of queen takes. Yeah, you won a piece. Good job, you. But now I played the move c2, and there's no way to stop this pawn from becoming a queen, because I can always play queen d1 check if I need to support the pawn. But this queen is so out of play, there's not even really a way for white to stop that. Okay. By the way, if I had taken this pawn in this position, it probably still wins, but you know what? White can play queen b3, and then I have to think a little bit more about how to win the game. So pawn c2, clearer, better, game over. My opponent decided to resign here, and thank you, Mr. Computer, because it's not always in life that 30 years later you realize you made some good decisions, but like a lot of adults say, make good choices, Fun Master Mike, and I did.
ChessKid is fun. Chess is great for the brain, but it's also fun to play. And ChessKid makes it easy to have fun. Whether your child is a total beginner or a prodigy, they can hop on and find a well-matched opponent from around the world at any time. ChessKid is the safe, parent-approved way for your child to play chess online. ChessKid is educational. To kids, it feels just like playing, but chess is a great way to learn patience, strategy, and critical thinking. ChessKid features a comprehensive training program that guides kids to level up on their way to mastery. There are more than 50,000 chess puzzles and a whole library of entertaining videos that teach strategies, tactics, openings, and endgames specifically for kids. ChessKid is easy. Whether you're a parent helping your child, a coach managing dozens of kids, or a school of hundreds. Signing up is free and easy, so what are you waiting for?